Welcome to the show, and welcome to Glow So Bright. This is a report on recent RED4CE tracking, published and written on March 9, 2026. Precedence is routine. Bottom line up front, following U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign on Iran on February 28, 2026, numerous attacks on American soil happened by far-left and radical Islamist elements after military operations, including but not limited to bomb threats, IED deployment, and active shootings. A 26-year-old Manchester, New Hampshire man, Colin Zeke Daly, aka Blue Zeke Daly, was charged by complaint with one count of attempted murder of a federal officer and one count of assaulting a federal officer with a deadly weapon. Daly is currently obtaining medical treatment at a New Hampshire hospital and is under guard. According to statements by the Department of Justice, a Border Control agent encountered Daly driving alone in Stewartstown, New Hampshire, near the Canadian border on February 21, 2026. After midnight on February 22, 2026, Daly arrived at the Pittsburgh port of entry on the border between the United States and Canada. The Border Control agent used his emergency lights to initiate a stop. From there, Daly opened fire on the Border Control agent with a handgun. Afterwards, Daly got shot by returning small arms fire. Analyst comment: it is unknown at this time if this individual is connected to the Zizian transgender death cult, as the incident is similar to one in which two individuals were alleged in the fatal shooting of a Border Control agent on January 20, 2025 near the Canadian border in the state of Vermont, which members involved in the incident were charged with murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and related firearms offenses. One other member of the group was fatally shot by return fire. Armed Careers SLC leader Urmia Fanayan has conducted a PSL-led protest in Washington, D.C. on February 28, 2026 in regards to U.S. military action on Iran. The protest is in support for the Islamic regime. With important figureheads of Armed Careers SLC present in this incident, it shows that foreign states such as China and Cuba have a stake in InfoWars and information warfare campaigns within the United States. See earlier Glow So Bright reporting on Armed Careers SLC, highlighting the unit and their involvement with foreign intelligence backing by the Cuban government. It shows that Armed Careers SLC is still very much active, despite strong evidence pointing it to be an entity or organization facilitated by foreign agents, as well as supporting armed organizations such as the Fort John Brown Gun Club, which in fact has multiple members, constitute the North Texas Antifa cell. Speaking of the North Texas Antifa cell, the trial for that unit, which is alleged in an attack on the Pearland Ice Facility on July 4, 2025, continues in Dallas, Texas. The trial not only covers the topics of the ice facility attack, but as well as allegations on the defendants who allegedly helped the alleged ringleader of the cell, Benjamin Song, break contact and become a fugitive of justice, of which he became part of FBI's Most Wanted. The trial also covers avenues and vectors for recruiting, training, logistics, and tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPs. There had been delays within the trial, such as it being deemed a mistrial due to the lawyer representing one of the defendants, Marquetta Clayton, was wearing politically charged graphic t-shirts as attire during the initial trial. This topic, as well as reporting on a cell, has been reported multiple times in previous Glow So Bright reports. In Austin, Texas, on March 1, 2026, at 0158 local time, an active shooter has attacked the public in the vicinity of the 700 block of West 6th Street, in which the suspect, 53-year-old Nadina Dagne, a U.S. citizen naturalized from Senegal in 2012, opened fire at a crowd outside of Buford's Bar, a popular establishment, from a black Cadillac SUV in a drive-by shooting using a pistol, then parked the vehicle around the block at a nearby parking lot, then dismounted and advanced towards Buford's Bar while opening fire to the public. Law enforcement and paramedics responded to the active shooting after multiple 911 calls were called to dispatchers, with a response time of 57 seconds. The suspect was neutralized by fatal small arms fire by the Austin Police Department. 18 victims were wounded. 2 victims were killed initially. 1 victim killed after succumbing to injuries. 2 victims remain hospitalized, with 1 in critical condition. Suspect is seen wearing a gray hoodie saying, "Property of Allah." Underneath that was a t-shirt with the design of the Islamist flag of Iran. Suspect was armed with an AR-15 carbine and a handgun during the attack. On March 4, 2026, Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza issued a letter closing its review of the case and declining any criminal charges to APD officers. APD is in the process of closing its criminal investigation into the officer-involved shooting. The City of Austin has released a public statement on March 5, 2026 containing video, audio, and other visuals and information about this incident. This would include 911 audio transcripts, police body cams, as well as statements to the public after the incident. With the incident being classified as terrorism, the FBI is conducting an ongoing investigation on this incident. Buford's Bar has reopened since the attack, with fundraising efforts inside the bar to provide support for victims involved in the attack. Analyst comments, while the attack appears to be done by a single individual without any direct links or being accompanied by others during the attack, it would be classified as a complex coordinated attack due to the employment of multiple methods as well as weapon systems, in this case, small arms as well as the employment of a vehicle during the attack. On March 8, 2026, at approximately 11:50 local time at the Kansas City International Airport in Kansas City, Missouri, a bomb threat was called regarding a suspicious device found in the airport terminal as well as the airport parking garage. Airport police, other law enforcement, as well as the FBI evacuated travelers from the terminal. Bomb and arson units ultimately determined that there was no threat inside the garage. In Washington State, on March 3, 2026, Alex Randall, a leader of the anarcho-queer, anarcho-communist group Moto Hooligans, has conducted firearms training in a gravel pit in the forest outside of the Seattle, Washington area. 7 members are seen in the group approximately. Almost all appear to be transgender except for Randall. Arms and equipment would be seen would be a Cricket 22 long rifle youth rifle, a Beretta 92F handgun, a Remington 783 bolt-action rifle, a large revolver, possibly a Smith & Wesson end-frame, a Glock pistol with Holosun optic and Streamlight weapon-mounted light, a finished Mosin Nagant 76x53R, a Mossberg Maverick 88 shotgun, a Glock pistol of some variety, 2 AR-15 carbines, as well as an unknown handgun. The only body armor seen would be in use by Randall as a Chinese copy of the First Spear Strand Hog carrier, and individual load-bearing equipment is sparse, if not at all present. On March 6, 2026, at 1700 local time, groups that were backed by the World Workers' Party, Armed the Dolls, New York City Anti-Repression Group, as well as New York Indivisible launched a pro-Iranian protest in response to the United States after the assassination of Iran's leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, at Washington Square, New York City. Analyst comment, while Armed the Dolls, a New York City-based transgender Marxist-Leninist anarcho-queer far-left group postures itself in imagery and graphic design as an armed group, there is no evidence of any sort of imagery of any armed members or cells present. The organization was launched in late April 2025, which coincides with initial Glow So Bright reporting of the Eugene, Oregon-based Doll Squad, an all-transgender, anarcho-communist, anarcho-queer far-left group which shows armed members and firearms as a spotlight of this imagery, with consistent graphic design with Armed Dolls and other templates being used by sister organizations that were aforementioned in New York. This is an AstroTurf non-organic group, unlike Doll Squad, which is organically created around a single figurehead, which means that Armed Dolls may have appropriated imagery from Doll Squad following additional reporting on the latter organization. During a protest outside of Gracie Mansion, the official residence of the New York City mayor in Manhattan, on March 7, 2026 at approximately 12:30 local time, an IED was thrown into the crowd yet failed to detonate. An anti-Islam and anti-immigrant protest occurred which had notable figureheads including a goat and Jake Lang. A counter-protester, identified as Walter Masterson, was giving a speech about wanting, quote, everyone to stay in New York, end quote, while Emir Balat ran from behind, used him as a springboard, pled allegiance to ISIS, and threw the IED while yelling, Allah Akbar.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Ibrahim Qayyumi ran along with Balat. Another device was also lit and dropped at the scene by Balat in front of several NYPD officers. According to both live stream video footage, multiple angles of video, and a released sealed complaint by the FBI. The suspects then immediately were tackled and arrested by NYPD officers, identified as 18-year-old Emir Balat and 19-year-old Ibrahim Qayyumi. A device which was then examined with an X-ray by an NYPD EOD unit, NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch described the devices as a homemade explosive device, described as a jar wrapped in black tape with nuts, bolts, and screws and a hobby fuse. The primary charge of this IED would be reportedly be made with TATP as a primary charge according to authorities. A third suspicious device was discovered in the area, at Manhattan's Upper East Side. The FBI then led the investigation under the Joint Terrorism Task Force. On March 8, 2026, search warrants were conducted by FBI agents on the residence of both Balat and Kayumi in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, as well as a complaint being unsealed on March 9. The complaint has several charges pressed on the suspects: attempted provision of material support and resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization, use of a weapon of mass destruction, transportation of explosive materials, interstate transportation and receipt of explosives, and unlawful possession of destructive devices. The mayor of New York, Zoran Madami, has made multiple statements on separate times regarding this incident, on March 8 and March 9, one of which is that himself nor his wife were present at the residence during the time, that he condemns the protest as a, quote, vile protest rooted in white supremacy, as well as condemning the violence in itself. He then praised the gallantry of individual NYPD officers as well. The investigation remains ongoing by the FBI, while the suspects remain in federal custody. Over in Taiwan, on March 5, 2026, Taiwan's Ministry of Defense, or Ministry of Defense REC, has reported in a public statement detecting 7 PLAN vessels and 2 official ships in the Strait of Taiwan. The MOD REC has stated that they have not detected any PLA aircraft. Analyst comments: with recent military activity targeting Iran primarily from Israel and the United States, this has created disruptions to a major source of petroleum to the People's Republic of China. Similarly, with the United States military activity in Venezuela in capturing pro-PRC leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife on January 3, 2026, strategically this would weaken China for them to be less able to project direct military strength from the PLA, as well as them being less able to project influence from asymmetric operations, such as influence and paramilitary support from signal-backed networks such as a Party for Socialism and Liberation, as well as Code Pink, which has contributed to structure, support, and leadership to domestic paramilitary units such as Armed Careers SLC and the Socialist Rifle Association, Chinese biolabs located within the United States, as well as similar asymmetric operations found globally outside of the United States. Sources used to create this report can be found at the companion text piece found on the official X page at GSB_actual. From there you can find all the links used to find appropriate imagery and information used to create this report. This is a report on recent RED4CE tracking, written and published on March 9, 2026. Lead analyst is GSB_actual. Thank you very much for watching.